Hey, this is Cassie, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout outs to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, habla Cindy, está viendo Deportes TV.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, unified, welterweight, superstar boxer, Errol Spence Jr. announced that he will be making his ring return to the squared circle in May or June. Brian Kenny did the interview. Brian Kenny is a analyst and a reporter and a journalist for a numerous of networks, ESPN, DAZN, and apparently Fox and PBC. As of yesterday, we've seen Brian Kenny. We've seen Brian Kenny get into it with quite a few boxers, more notably Floyd Money Mayweather, right? With that said, Brian Kenny, in my opinion, was unprofessional in his approach to his interview with Errol Spence Jr., which was his first interview since suffering his horrific car accident in months. And this is the interview we got, and that was from Brian Kenny. It wasn't too much professional. It wasn't too much insight, and detail. It seemed to be an agenda push there. Brian Kenny repeatedly, was asking about Terrence Crawford and guys outside of the PBC. He also mentioned Keith Thurman's loss and saying, he was just seemed to be watering down the competition, in my opinion, right? Brian Kenny then harped on the fact of Errol Spence having, legal allegations against him as far as having driving while under influence, right? DWI. He mentioned that. He made mention of that, and then he made mention of Errol Spence's face, and he continued to ask Errol Spence about his body and does he have any restrictions. Errol Spence, is not a figure in public that you see getting in trouble. He doesn't have a history where you could point to and say, hey, this guy's getting in trouble, this guy's getting arrested, none of that. So it's unwarranted, right? He's young, he was enjoying himself. He's young, he has money, he's enjoying himself, and he has fame, right? This could happen to anybody, okay? So I don't understand where the disdain comes from towards Errol Spence, but I noticed, in the comment section in a lot of videos and tweets and things of that nature, you get a lot of negative comments. Errol Spence was perceived as the boogeyman in the welterweight division for quite some time, and I believe this is where this comes from. His success and being perceived as the boogeyman. Like he stated, a lot of people are not happy that he's coming back. Only welterweight I believe, that, doesn't mind him coming back is Sean Porter. Sean Porter wanted an immediate rematch. Yeah, a lot of these guys are gonna say they want to fight Errol Spence, but, not too many people were chomping at the bit to jump in the ring with Errol Spence. Let's just be honest. One being 8-division Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pacquiao, who's a legend in his own right and is a WBA welterweight champion. Manny Pacquiao got in the ring after Errol Spence beat Mikey Garcia. Errol Spence called him out. Manny Pacquiao didn't seem too enthused or too motivated to face Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford, who's the WBO undefeated welterweight and perceived as the pound-for-pound king in the sport of boxing, rather, stay on his side of the street. He'd rather say and scream that he wants to fight Errol Spence, but he doesn't push the powers that be to make the fight happen. Sean Porter, we saw Sean Porter get in the ring with Errol Spence, and then recently, Danny Garcia, after the Sean Porter fight, Danny Swift Garcia, 2-division world champion, former unified world champion in his own right, get in the ring and say that he wanted to fight Errol Spence. And then it seemed to be that fight was on the horizon, January 25th. And then obviously we had the situation where Errol Spence suffered a car accident. But there's just not too many people that are happy with Errol Spence. And there's a lot of disdain going in the direction of Errol Spence. The interview with Brian Kenny was unprofessional. It was it was lackluster. You know, I mean, for Errol Spence's first interview back, for his first public interview, and the first time that he's clarifying his situation and clarifying what took place, Brian Kenny didn't do a good job. He just didn't do a good job, point blank and period. And it's just, to me, it's sad, and I think a lot of people want to see Errol Spence fail. Why? I can't tell you why. Like I said, my hunch is that he was perceived as the boogeyman in the division for a long time. He had success. And then on top of it, you know, he's not controlled. You know, Errol Spence is 10 toes down. He understands, he's very aware of who rides with him and who don't. You know, he's very aware of what's going on around him. You know, so, you know, I believe that this is the problem. But that interview with Brian Kenny was horrible, to say the least. It was horrible. You know, it just didn't come off well. It came off as distasteful, and it came off as an agenda. That's just the way it comes off. You know, but I would love to see Errol Spence face the best of the best in the division, and he will face the best of the best in the division. He called out Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, and Terrence Crawford yesterday. He said that he's the best in the division. It's his division. He's the king in the division, and everybody needs to be gunning for him. But the thing about it is, it seems like he's the one that's gonna have to push the envelope, right? It sounds good to say it for a lot of people. Now, more notably, Manny Pacquiao, and I'm highlighting Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. And the reason I'm doing so is because Terrence Crawford needs to push the powers that be on his side, behind him, that's promoting him, to make that fight happen, to do whatever it takes to make that fight happen. Errol Spence said he don't want no tune-ups. Manny Pacquiao don't seem too enthused. Errol Spence is gonna have to put pressure on Manny Pacquiao to make that fight happen. And Errol Spence said he wants to be undisputed, so that's a fight that's gonna have to happen, period. And then there's Danny Garcia. So these are all great fights. I can't wait to see it go down. But I'm just making this video because I just don't understand where the disdain comes from towards Errol Spence. It's a lot like the disdain that Deontay Wilder gets. It's unwarranted, period. And for Brian Kenny to do that interview, I don't know how Brian Kenny was the chosen person to do that interview. I don't know why. What's the definition behind that? What was the reason for that? I have no clue. Jordan, who is married to Caleb Plant, who's the world champion in his own right, super middleweight world champion. She does a great job. I believe she should have been the one that was gifted that position. You know, there was numerous other people that I felt were more qualified to do that interview with Errol Spence than Brian Kenny. Brian Kenny clearly, you know, when he stated, drive safely. More importantly, we want you to drive safely. I'm analyzing your face to make sure, you know, there's nothing going on. He asked him about any restrictions about 3-4 times. I mean, it just was utterly ridiculous. And then to bring up the D-Weed as in the manner he did was in bad taste, point blank and period. But I can't wait to see Errol Spence back fully, and I can't wait to see him perform. You know, there's a lot of guys, you make videos and there's a lot of comments and people saying, oh, he's not coming back, he's not healthy. Oh, he can't talk well. He got new teeth, he had dental work done. He was in a horrific car accident. That's not being disputed. So of course there's gonna be reactions for that. For every action, there's a reaction. And that's what needs to be understood. But guess what? Regardless of how he's perceived, he's coming back. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Blue Blood Sport TV, baby, from the Empress. Much love.